Hawaii was the first non-European indigenous state whose independence was recognized by the majority of the world's governments. Unfortunately, as greed and hunger for land outweighed the welfare of the native Hawaiians, on January 17, 1893, the United States military, along with the U.S. and European businessmen, conspired an illegal overthrow of the Hawaiian kingdom. 1.2 million acres of Hawaiian land that had belonged to the monarchy of Hawaii was taken with no compensation paid. As the native Hawaiian people become more and more displaced, there is a subsequent erosion of the people's culture and livelihood. Prince Kuhio was one of the last remaining Hawaiian monarchs and worked at getting back some of the lands for the welfare of his people. Through his efforts, the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act was created. In 1921, this act was passed by the U.S. Congress, which mandated the federal government return 203,000 acres of vacant land to be divided and distributed among the Hawaiian people with at least 50% native Hawaiian blood. The sad fact is that still to this day, almost 100 years later, more than 44,000 Hawaiians are eligible to receive these vacant parcels of land, but only 9,700 have been settled. Over 44,000 applicants remain on a long waiting list. Why the long delay, and why are so few cases resolved?
The Hawaiian Homes Commission Act that created DHHL was fundamental to any opportunity that Hawaiians had for self-determination.
And unfortunately, while they set aside the land, they didn't give any money to go with it.
Over the years, there have been countless efforts by Native Hawaiian groups to rectify the wrong done to their culture and land. In 1959, when Hawaii became the 50th state, the Hawaiian Homes Program became the responsibility of the state and not the federal government.
They kept the trust ownership of the land, but then passed on the responsibility for making the homes available and putting up the money to the state. And that was, to me, another injustice.
When Senator Inouye passed and Akaka, of course, retired, the center of gravity in addressing a lot of these Hawaiian self-determination questions, which includes doing more with the Hawaiian Homestead Act, kind of dissipated.
The reality is that people on the wait list are dying, and not just of old age. Hawaiians have the highest rate of substance abuse, obesity, and incarceration. Other factors that contribute to these issues is the manipulation of regulations put in place that make it difficult for Hawaiians to have ownership of property. Hawaii State Representative Gene Ward formed a study group to seek answers and find solutions. Ward's office conducted interviews with all living and former directors of the Department of Hawaiian Homelands and other leaders with the expertise in understanding the many complex issues and potential solutions that can finally progress this governmental department forward to benefit those of Native Hawaiian ancestry.
There's generally been a building of discontent, not only among the Hawaiian community, but in the legislature. I've been for 10 sessions hearing the lip service we've given to many of the Hawaiian issues, but not really having the results. We did a research project to see what was going on after 100 years of why you got 203,000 acres, you got only 9,700 homesteads, you got 44,000 people on the wait list, and what are you going to do about it? It's the right thing now to do to get the Hawaiian Homes Act fulfilled, implemented, and made true to the promises that were put forth by the U.S. Congress in 1921.
The government of the Republic, which conspired to the overthrow, did not want to have the creation of the Hawaiian Homes Act, because he would then set aside 250,000 acres, which they felt they wanted to keep within the Republic.
Hawaiians were led to believe if they met the income and blood quantum requirements, they would be placed on the land, have a mortgage, and be compensated with a degree of dignity after the loss of their kingdom. Instead, 100 years after the overthrow, Hawaiians are at the bottom of the socioeconomic and health ladders. The role DHHL can play in the rehabilitation of Hawaiians is of tremendous importance and an urgent need in the state of Hawaii. DHHL should get clear on its purpose: housing first. If anything has been learned from the current homeless crisis in Hawaii, it's that housing comes first before you can rehabilitate or treat any other symptom of a person or family.
I've never seen a real serious attempt, on the part of the state to fix it.
Like many of these studies, they get all the options, and yet they file it away, and they carry on same old, same old.
DHHL needs to change its housing paradigm. A rent-to-buy option could be one of the solutions, as well as creative entrepreneurial financing.
So what I would recommend they do would be looking at doing some rental housing. Over 30 years, they could create $200,000-$300,000 in value under an equity build program, and then that money could be used to go and buy a lot.
DHHL could better leverage its assets to make use of what it has the most of, to capitalize on its large amounts of land.
First thing that I would do is to take a really serious look at if the act needs to be amended in order to provide more flexibility on how the department uses its lands to raise revenue.
If there's anything that's needed in a place where land is scarce, is land. They have 203,000 acres. It's leverageable, tradable, and it's able to, like Kamehameha Schools, to have a legacy to build on its own funds to make an endowment to where we're not dependent on federal funds or dependent on state funds. And we have not been generous on the federal level or the state level in building infrastructure, which is very expensive, and then building sufficient housing as well.
OHA's got the money, Hawaiian Homes got the land. If they could merge their mission.
DHHL and its beneficiaries need to create a groundswell of support in all areas of the political arena and in the general public. DHHL is in a race against time and needs to have the Hawaiians benefit from the lands and not just be on the wait list.
I would like to see Hawaii become the first state where we're 95% owner-occupied.
What I'd like to see happen is for the fulfillment of a parity between the Hawaiian community and the others. There's no reason whatsoever why the Hawaiian community can't excel.
We need to act now, not later. Kamehameha III said, "Ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono." The life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness. With knowledge comes power to be able to bring restitution to the past wrongs. A broken promise that needs to be made right. A promise for a better future for all of Hawaii's people.
E